Every day is a brand new day. And every day is a brand new conversation about Vancouver Canucks superstar defenseman Quinn Hughes. By now, you're probably tired of it. Every single moment, there's a new idea, a new team, a new conversation. But we have to go out there and talk about it. Like, I wouldn't be a holistic, all-encompassing Vancouver Canucks fan if I didn't talk about the newest and latest when it comes to Quinn Hughes and the idea of him getting traded. Because we have ourselves an update as to what the Hughes trade price is, we have some new teams that are entering the mix, and we have some commentary from Quinn Hughes himself as to how he feels about one of these potential destinations. It's all here in this video. We're going to talk about the Canucks, the Capitals, the Red Wings, and what Nick Kypreos went out there and wrote on his NHL Trade Buzz article from yesterday afternoon. In yesterday's NHL Buzz, Real Kipper shares what he is hearing around the league, from teams beyond New Jersey that will be in on Quinn Hughes, Chris Tanev's injury outlook, and Artemi Panarin's contract. This article will be linked in the description if you want to go out there and read Kipper's Market Buzz yourself. But if you scroll down here in this piece, published yesterday, as we had said, you can take a look as to where the Quinn Hughes trade conversations seem to be going. Kipper notes here that the Canucks and Devils have been in contact before, going back to even last summer, and the market for Hughes may be much wider than just New Jersey. The Canucks believe there are teams completely open to the idea of trading for Hughes to have him as a 2-year rental without any assurances that he'll stay past his contract, which expires in 2027. These teams see Hughes as a final piece that could help them win, or be a threat in this season or next. This strategy harkens back to Carolina's trade for pending UFA Mikko Rantanen last season, acquiring the scoring winger without any confirmation that he'd re-sign with them. The Canes were hoping to sell Rantanen on their franchise and location, but when that ultimately didn't happen, they traded him again. The difference with Hughes is that a team would have 2 seasons to try to convince him to stay, whereas the Hurricanes had about a month to do so with Rantanen. Could Detroit be one of those teams? They have what it would take to quench Vancouver's thirst for young centers. Anaheim, Chicago, and San Jose are others that could be involved as they start to become more competitive too. Now, we're going to ignore this conversation for now. I think if you wanted to say, oh, Leo Carlsson for Quinn Hughes, sign me up, please, 1 for 1, I'd be happy with that. But I don't know if Ducks fans would be. Same with Connor Bedard, and same with Macklin Celebrini. Maybe Michael Misa is in his own conversation there, but that's a conversation for another day. Kipper writes here, right now, it seems the going rate for a team wishing to acquire Hughes is a combination of 4 or 5 pieces, including roster players, prospects, and first-rounders. The Canucks are seeking those first-rounders to be unprotected, so that if they end up in the lottery, Vancouver wouldn't have to worry about waiting another year to receive the return and would maximize the potential package. As we know, Jim Rutherford has a history of acting quickly and decisively, so while the Hughes deal doesn't seem at all close today, that outlook could change at any given moment. Now I love that. Unprotected first-round picks, a la the Erik Karlsson trade of many moons ago. And sure, you can say that the Erik Karlsson trade was kind of underwhelming for Ottawa, at least at first. Josh Norris became a pretty good player, and then the first-round pick that Ottawa received turned out to be 3rd overall because the Sharks stunk in 2019-20. They ended up taking Tim Stützle, those Senators did. So with Norris turned into Cousins and Tim Stu still on the team, you can say that the Senators got a pretty good return for Erik Karlsson. It's all because of that unprotected first-round pick, and Vancouver seems to be in the mix with that sort of thought process as well. They want first-rounders, they want roster players, they want prospects, they want all this stuff for Quinn Hughes, who is one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League, so I think it's kind of worth it. Now, speaking about some of the teams that could be involved here, let's dive into one of the new contenders, courtesy of Rick Dhaliwal and Elliot Friedman. Dhaliwal said on yesterday's edition of Donnie and Dolly, "I did hear last night that the Washington Capitals have interest in Quinn Hughes." Quintessential Hughes goes out there and says, "Give us Cole Hudson, Ilya Protash, and Connor McMichael." I think as a starter for the Capitals, it's Hudson and McMichael. I would do it too if I was Washington. Hughes is already elite, and he is only 26. Hudson could be elite, but you never know. It just sucks that Hughes can't sign an extension, because it could really bite them. Now, I will say, there are a few other names that I would say the Capitals probably have that would interest Vancouver. I know he's a winger, not necessarily a center, but Ryan Leonard is such a strong hockey player. And then you also have the idea of Cole Hudson, who happens to be Lane Hudson's younger brother. He's been dominating in the NCAA, and I think a lot of Canadiens fans are salty that they were not able to get this guy for themselves because they already have his brother in Lane. But Cole Hudson is at over a point per game for Boston University this season. He was way over a point per game last year, and way over a point per game at the World Juniors. So Cole Hudson, premium left-handed defenseman. He's like Quinn Hughes light. If you're going to think about Washington giving up a top defenseman prospect, I'd say Cole Hudson is the guy. You do have some other names that I think are interesting. Connor McMichael, of course. Alexei Protash, is he available? Probably not, but I would say that that is a very strong piece. Elliot Friedman also spoke about the Washington Capitals on First Shift yesterday. One team I've wondered about a Quinn Hughes trade a little bit was Washington. They're a team I could see say, you know what? We'll take your chances. Joker Pick says, oh, Hudson, Sandin, one of these recent first-rounders, and a future first and a future second. Isn't he the same type of player as Cole Hudson? Why would the Caps give up on Hudson at this point? Well, it's because Hughes is kind of that player now, and Cole Hudson is going to be an NHL player in the future. It really is a differentiation between the next few years and this year. Plus, with that Carlson-Chychrun pairing going off, adding a third top-tier defenseman in Quinn Hughes would totally make lives difficult for the rest of the Metro Division. Washington would be stacked on D, if that was the case. Imagine Quinn Hughes feeding Ovechkin one-timers. And we can say that because Ovechkin's still scoring goals like crazy. It's kind of ridiculous. Now, sticking around in the Eastern Conference, I wanted to end this video off by talking about one of these other teams that we've already discussed in Quinn Hughes trade talks. The Detroit Red Wings, who went out there and defeated the Vancouver Canucks in a pretty bad shutout victory for John Gibson in Rogers Arena. It was bad for the Canucks, amazing for the Red Wings, but Quinn Hughes did give this Detroit team some praise after the game over how good they're performing in the midst of trade speculation. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this article too, but the reason we're going out there is because this article highlights the Vancouver and Detroit Quinn Hughes trade rumors, and then it dives into what Hughes said about the Red Wings after Monday's 4-0 victory by the Wings. The Canucks captain had a lot to say about the Red Wings franchise. He discussed how well they rebuilt in the past few years, but stated that they aren't a top 3 team in the NHL yet. He added that his team played well, but couldn't capitalize against Detroit. Credit to the Red Wings, they have some really good players, and they've done a good job through the draft. You see that coming to fruition now. But it's not like that's a top 3 team in the league. Like, we played pretty well tonight, and just couldn't capitalize on our chances. And I saw a lot of people going out there and saying, hey, why did Quinn do that? He didn't need to necessarily praise Stevie Y and the drafting job that he has done as GM of the Detroit Red Wings up to this point. Why did he need to say that? Could there be some sort of a link there that extends beyond just the trade rumor mill, churning out rumors and trade talk? Who knows, who knows, who knows? But either way, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Quinn Hughes trade update? The price has been revealed. Washington is a new team in the mix here, and Detroit was just given some pretty big praise by Vancouver's current and maybe not too long captain. Thoughts in the comment section below about where this trade conversation is going to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.